Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Welcome in! Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Wednesday. It means we're brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. About half that work week in the rearview mirror. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Got Jordan Kitchens, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. We're fired up. You are here. Obviously, the news of yesterday evening, Ole Miss suing two LSU players. We'll get to it coming up in 15 minutes. It's a What If Wednesday. Fire those away on our text line, 225-499-1045. Or in the Bayou 4 chat, we'll take them there as well. Second hour, we'll hear from Saints head coach Kellen Moore. We'll also visit with Kat Terrell at 2:30. Kat works for ESPN.com covering the black and gold. She will be with us at the bottom of hour number 2 talking Saints, and was excited to kind of get into Saints talk today. And that's just a huge buzzkill. We're going to lead with it. It's our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive. Presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
I mean, we said it yesterday, y'all. You know, in the NFL, that first training camp's injury is coming. It's just a matter of when. And for the Panthers, it was day one. Nick Scorton goes down, torn ACL. And for some reason, it seems to happen in the NFL with a little bit more regularity than in college, the two football programs that we cover at the end of the summer here. But today, it appears, and there are multiple reports now suggesting this, that Bryan Bresee is done for the year for the New Orleans Saints 90 minutes into training camp. The report from Ian Rappaport is that Bryan Bresee has very likely torn his ACL. That has not been confirmed, but very often these insiders, not incorrect with something that significant this early. Those doctors that get out there onto the field can generally tell pretty quickly if you've got a tear. They'll certainly do the imaging. And so we're not here to confirm that, but the reports are so prevalent that it's impossible to ignore it. It appears the Saints have lost a starting defensive lineman an hour and a half into training camp. It is still July. And that is just such a gut punch to New Orleans, and it is obviously just a huge gut punch to Bryan Bresee as well. You're talking about a player that the Saints selected in the first round, 29th overall in 2023. He has played in a lot of football games for New Orleans over his 3 seasons in the NFL. Played all 17 games as a rookie in 2023. Played all 17 games as a second-year player in 2024. Played 15 games, all 15 as a starter last year for New Orleans. Looked like really coming on as a pass rusher through 2 seasons. Without starting a single game as a rookie, he had 4.5 sacks. Then his second year, 7.5 sacks from a defensive tackle spot. You're really showing some elite traits as a pass rusher. Now, of course, there were questions about his ability to stop the run. That's always been something that Bresee had to get better at. But it's hard to find guys at that size with that quickness to affect the quarterback and to get the quarterback on the ground. And Bresee did that a ton through his first 2 years. Last year in 15 starts, not as much, 2.5 sacks, but certainly a young player that the Saints are helping to build the defense around. You're talking about an age nearly 25 player. He turns 25 coming up in October, but 6'5", 305, and certainly entrenched as a starter on this team, and now you've lost him. So there are a couple of layers to that. One, you've got Devon Godshaw as a veteran right there on the interior of your defensive front. You've got a couple of other veteran presences in your locker room. You've got Nathan Shepard. You've got John Ridgeway. I wouldn't suggest either of those guys are elite-level players. I wouldn't suggest that either is probably a championship-level player at this point. But they are veterans, and they can play at this level. And then you've got the 2 young guys that you've drafted. You've got Christian Miller, and then you also brought in Christian Boyd as well. Vernon Broughton is a guy that has the ability to maybe play both, but you really are betting on Godshaw staying healthy as the veteran linchpin in the interior, of Shepard and Ridgeway really taking some control of things early, and hopefully Christian Miller emerges as a huge hit in the second round. You've got to have that. That's what your depth chart looks like right now. And I would not suggest that group of players would be a strength of this Saints team. In fact, it's now a significant question mark. A significant question mark. And in late July, there is time. There is time to see what you've got in Christian Miller. There's time to see how versatile Vernon Broughton can be. There is time to assess what you've got in-house. There is also time to understand, okay, we now know this is a hole. And there are going to be cuts all around the league over the course of the next 4 or 5 weeks, and we may have to go shopping somewhere to find somebody that may be a year or two past their prime that can come in and hold the point of attack. You have time to do that. You would not have time to do that if we were 4 days out from game day and he got hurt right before the opener. It's a bad situation for the Saints to be in. And there are plenty of other players, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, I'm just trying to break down the team here. There are plenty of other positions where I would think this hurts worse when you talk about true impact on the team. But make no mistake, this is a big blow in the middle of the Saints' defensive interior. There's no way to avoid that because this is the youngest, most talented pass rusher, most talented player you've got at this position. Godshaw's older. Shepard and Ridway are reserves. Christian Miller is a rookie. Vernon Broughton did not play last year. There's just a lot of question marks around that. So while today is such an energizing day, I got up out of bed, fired up to go on my run this morning and go, we got football to talk about today. We got the Saints on the practice field. And I'm not even, y'all know, I'm not in the foxhole with y'all in the black and gold every Sunday. I want them to win, but I don't breathe it like y'all do. I just talk about them. I break them down. But I was excited for today. And that excitement's going to carry over into the week, and you'll see the highlights come out, and you'll see the preseason game here in a few weeks. And, there will be tons of excitement throughout August. This is not going to throw a cold blanket on everything like if a couple of other players went down. I'm not even going to put that in the universe. But this is not to that degree, but it's a gut punch one day in. And beyond the impact on this Saints team, it just strikes me that there are, in my opinion, it's not backed up by fact, but it just feels like these injuries happen more often in NFL training camps than they do in the college camps that we also pay attention to. There are injuries at an LSU fall camp. But it's usually he tweaked his ankle, he's probably going to miss a week. Yeah, defensive lineman, he broke his finger, they'll put a wrap on it. Yeah, he's down for a couple weeks. But man, these season enders just seem to pop up in NFL camps so often. And it's just such a bummer. Today, the Saints didn't even have pads on. I'm not there, and we'll talk to Kat Terrell about what she saw. Certainly wasn't this. This is something that came out, I think, after the media was out. But, just an absolute bummer, and just one that's, hard for me to grasp, that you were doing something at such a speed that happened. I realize it's non-contact oftentimes with an ACL, and I realize these guys are big men. They're oftentimes, they're oftentimes interlocked, but it just seems like this happens a lot. And again, we talked about it yesterday at the top in the Saints segment. It was you're going to get into this camp, and expectations are so high, and energy is so high, and there's going to be that camp injury that happens. And you just didn't think it was going to be the first day. So it's up to Mickey Loomis and that front office now to really identify what they've got and take inventory in the league. This broke 10 minutes ago. I was 5 minutes from going on the air when this happened, so I can't pretend to have a list handy of potential names that are unsigned or of potential guys who might not make a roster or teams that might be bloated at one position or another. But you understand that once this information becomes confirmed, and right now we're dealing off of reports that you feel are relatively credible. Right now you look at this and you go, okay, Mickey Loomis and that team in the front office have to understand you've got to go find another veteran defensive tackle. You have to do it. And it happens, this is not something they're not familiar with. They've had to do it on the offensive line for the last 3 years. They've had to do it at wide receiver because they've had so many injuries. Running back last year, you find Autry Estime on the street. This is not a new exercise for NFL front offices. It's just not one that you thought you were going to get into the first day of camp. But you hate it for Bryan Bresee so much. That's a guy who's in his 4th year. That's a guy who's bumping up on getting that second contract, and you want to put your best year ever on paper so that, man, you're ready to go into that next year and get that extension. And now he's going to be rehabbing for the entirety of the fall. And that just, that I don't have another way to say it. That just sucks. We had a chance to sit down with Bryan Bresee Super Bowl week on this show. It was a delight to interview, delight to talk to. We joked about the LSU Clemson game upcoming and really enjoyed our conversation with him. And he's really shown himself to have some real talent, but you were hoping he put it all together this year in that Brandon Staley defense. And unfortunately for the Saints and certainly for Bryan Bresee, just won't happen. Sounds like Bryan Bresee, a torn ACL on day 1 of training camp, going to be out for the season. Huge gut punch. How are we feeling back there, Jordan? I don't think we're feeling so good.
I don't want to go too far and say I'm devastated that much because at the end of the day, we still have a lot of time. But to say that I'm not sick to my stomach seeing this, and it feels like we did kind of speak it into the universe yesterday, but we're realistic. We're just being real. Like it happens every training camp. But right now, Christian Miller,
you got to be second-round pick.
Listen, you have no better PR right now. You buying everybody groceries and all that. All right, now it's time to lock in. Your time is here. And Broughton, we drafted from Texas last year, who didn't play at all. Like, we've invested into the D-line, so it shouldn't be that big of a gut punch. It sucks right now. It stings. People hearing this, I know, it stings. But we've invested. We've put assets into the line. So one of these guys is going to have to step up. I just hate that this happened day 1.
And I'll say this, because, look, they're going to be in that 3-down front, that 3-down look, and you're going to see different combinations of different guys.
Yeah.
It's a good thing they signed Cam Jordan.
Yes, and he can bump inside.
He
can
do both. It's a good thing they signed him, because that's a guy, he fits the mold exactly what I was talking about. Like, I don't know who all the veterans are at that position right now, because this happened 10 minutes ago. But that would be one of them that you could call, and he's already in camp. So that's a tough spot there for New Orleans. But news of the day, if you're just jumping in 30 seconds ago and going, what are y'all talking about? Sounds like the reports are that Bryan Bresee torn ACL out for the season, 90 minutes into training camp. Tough scene there in Metairie. We'll talk to Kat Terrell about it in an hour and 15 minutes. We got more sound coming from Saints camp as well. Kellen Moore met with the media. Alvin Kamara met with the media. I think Tyler Shuck did as well. That was after I was done listening to some of the press conferences. Kamara was in great spirits today. Was a joy to listen to as well. Cam Jordan met with the media. So lots of sound coming up at Saints camp. As I say, August runs off of sounds. We're not into August quite yet. We're in the last few days of July, but August runs on sound, and we'll have a lot of that coming up for you as the course of the rest of the show continues. When we come back, more drama between LSU and Ole Miss. I'll give you my thoughts on it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust. FabTCom. FABT.com. Look, they've been around for 116 years. 116 years serving Southeast Louisiana, and they've grown over the course of that 116 years to 25 locations throughout our part of the state. If you're in St. Tammany or Tangipahoa, down I-12, or maybe down the bayou in St. James, St. John, or Lafourche, there's a First American Bank and Trust near you. If you're near Baton Rouge and Dutchtown or Jones Creek, maybe if you're over in Metairie, you got a First American Bank and Trust near you. They've got the resources the big national banks do as well. If you need a commercial loan, need a personal loan, they can help you. They got 25 locations. They got you covered, but they give you that that community feel in your commercial banking. It's First American Bank and Trust. Check them out online at FABT.com.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. We are honored and humbled to receive from our clients in Google. Based on 5-star client reviews, the designation of our law firm is highly recommended. Whether you hire us at all, please give us a call, 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. Injuries happen when you least expect them to, making your life more complicated. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we know this, and we strive to help each of our clients during these times. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new 2025 Jeep Wrangler with $18,000 off MSRP.
$18,000 off Jeep Wrangler plus the 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Want to play baseball or softball like the pros? Then join me this Thursday at Marucci's Hitter's House on Seagan. We'll be broadcasting AFR live, so come take some hacks in the cages and meet our friends over at Marucci, the official bat of Major League Baseball at Marucci's Hitter's House.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6...
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Been telling you all month of July about the awesome deals going on at Fabry Chevrolet GMC on Highway 61 in St. Francisville, and they're going till August 3rd, which gives you a little bit of time, but not a ton. They're giving employee pricing on 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 Denali's now until August 3rd. You can get up to $8,000 off on select Denali's. $8,000 off. It's a pretty good gig. Chevy's offering 0% APR financing for 5 years on 2026 Silverado 1500s, plus no monthly payments for 90 days. Now until, you guessed it, August 3rd. Chevy's offering bonus cash on select new vehicles to firefighters, police officers, 911 dispatchers, and EMT paramedics. And they've got inventory to fit any budget. Check out the inventory online at FabryChevrolet.com or go see them on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Fabry Chevrolet GMC. All right, y'all. The news of the day yesterday was that Ole Miss released a statement suggesting that they were going to, or have, filed suit against Devin Harper and Prince William for breach of contract. Before we get into this, and I think y'all know where I stand, but I'm gonna continue to opine on it. I think y'all also understand that no one here loves LSU more than me. I am extremely passionate. I want them to win all the time. And I am thrilled that Prince William and Devin Harper are on this roster. I think Prince William is a force off the edge. I think he's going to be one of the best sack guys in the SEC. I think that helps you close out tight games with a lead. I think it's a huge boost to the team. Devin Harper is a really talented young player that LSU recruited out of high school that went to Ole Miss. Now he's back. He can play tackle. He can play guard. He's probably your swing guy. He might be your sixth offensive lineman on this team. I'm thrilled both guys are there. But for me personally, my love for LSU and the fact that I'm thrilled those guys are on the team doesn't make me approach this story and go, okay. I want LSU to win. I like LSU. I hate Ole Miss. How do I frame this story positively for LSU? Like, that's just not how I'm going to operate. And I feel like fans very, very often do look at every story like that. How do I make sure that LSU wins and Ole Miss loses? And so you're skeptical to everything that Ole Miss does, and you believe in everything that LSU does, and you go, well, Ole Miss, you're poor. Or you go, oh, they're just so butthurt. Oh, my gosh. They just cry and complain about everything. Or you say, well, they were coerced into signing it. It was between the two bowl games. Or you say, well, who cares? There are no rules. Or you say, oh, Ole Miss, you're doing the same thing. Or you say, oh, Ole Miss, good luck recruiting after this. And all this stuff, like, I just don't fall in line with any of that. Here's the way I see it. In college athletics right now, you can transfer every year. It's completely within the rules. You can get paid. It's completely within the rules. You can transfer every year and create a bidding war. It's completely within the rules. You can play a fifth year now. That's completely within the rules. There are so many things that are pro student athlete, and I'm okay with a lot of that stuff. Agents are going to do shady things. Tampering's going to go on. I'm not clutching pearls over any of this stuff, y'all. Like, I'm really not. I told y'all I didn't care about Ole Miss tampering with Luke Farrelly. I don't care about LSU attempting to go overseas and get some guys with questionable eligibility. Like, I'm not clutching pearls all over that. But there has to be a line somewhere. And for me, it's a contract. If we lose the ability to enforce a contract, what in the world can we do? There have to be some rules somewhere. And Prince William and Devin Harper were completely within their right to enter the transfer portal and transfer to LSU. They're completely within their right to sign a revenue sharing agreement with Ole Miss and get out of it and go to LSU. But guess what? If you do that second part where you sign the revenue sharing and then leave, you owe the penalty. It's in the contract. I don't know how there can be another way to rationalize this if you're being objective. If you want to just throw on all your purple and gold and just point and laugh at Oxford, then fine. But like, we just won't see eye to eye, which is not a crime, but we're just not going to see eye to eye on this. I don't believe that these guys were tricked or forced or coerced into signing something. These are six-figure student athletes. Prince William has been in school for 4 years. There are agents involved. There are attorneys involved. If you don't need to sign something, get someone, a representative involved. I don't think Winnie Watkins is having any trouble right now. If you sign the revenue sharing agreement and you pull out of it, you're beholden to the consequences of the agreement. I don't understand how that's a difficult thing to grasp. And then I hear people say, well, did Ole Miss even pay him? Why do they have to pay him back? They probably didn't pay him that quick. That's not the point. And I haven't read the contract. And I wrote this on LouisianaSports.net, and I will tell you right now I haven't seen the contract. And if there is a loophole that LSU is exercising, I will come back and say, okay, I didn't see the contract. Well done by LSU. I have no problem with that. But Ole Miss is being public with this, and it seems pretty cut and dried. So it would surprise me if Ole Miss's legal team was that inept that they allowed this ridiculously easy loophole that LSU walked right through, and then 7 months later, they still are barking up the public tree to get paid. I have a hard time believing that. So it doesn't matter if Ole Miss paid them. If the contract says, we owe you this in revenue sharing this year, and if you leave and transfer out, you owe us this, and that's the amount that they're asking for, that's what you owe. And to me, Prince William and Devin Harper should pay it. And if they can't, I have no idea how much money they got from Ole Miss, how much they're getting from LSU, and perhaps they can't pay it. It's very plausible. It's a reasonable, it's a mid-six figures amount of money. Then LSU should step in and help. That's my take on it. Because I don't buy that Ole Miss is doing this out in public, and that's so ridiculous. It was 7 months later, y'all. It's been 7 months. I didn't know about this lack of payment for the first 4 or 5 months it was going on. We got wind of it 2 months ago, but it appears and look, I realize we're only getting one side of the story too, but it appears that they have reached out to both players multiple times. They've reached out to LSU, who responded, and I didn't hear about that. I'm right here. I'm covering the team. I'd love anything to talk about in June and July. I didn't have that. It seemed pretty private. And then Keith Carter was asked about it. He could have planted the question. I'm not telling you that everything Ole Miss does is on the up and up. I'm confident it's not. But in this instance, if you're going to sign a revenue share agreement and then go in the transfer portal and then leave, you're beholden to the payment to me. I hear LSU fans say, well, good luck recruiting anybody if you're going to sue everybody that transfers out. They're not. They're not suing Winnie Watkins. They didn't sue Austin Simmons. They're not suing Caden Lee, who left as a wide receiver. They're suing the guys who signed the agreement. And if you think that there's going to be a massive problem for Ole Miss recruiting student athletes because the other schools that are recruiting against Ole Miss are going to say, hey, don't go to Ole Miss, because if you sign a contract that says they'll pay you $300,000, but if you leave, you owe them $500,000, and you transfer out after you sign the contract, they're gonna ask for $500,000. Do we think that's some kind of like massive revelation? Like, there are some things you can negative recruit on. These guys pull scholarships. This pitching coach runs guys into the ground. This coach is ridiculously unethical off the course. Did you see him on the news? Did you see that dash cam? Like, you can negatively recruit about things. The fact that Ole Miss is going to ask for the money they're owed contractually, sorry, I don't think that's a big deal. I don't think that's something you negative recruit on. LSU had no problem finding money to fire Ed Ogeron and hire Brian Kelly. They had no problem firing Matt House and the whole defensive staff and hiring Blake Baker. They had no problem firing Brian Kelly and Scott Woodward. They had no problem hiring Lane Kiffin and keeping Blake Baker. They had no problem twice inking the number one transfer portal class in the country. They had no problem spending one of the top 4 or 5 most expensive rosters in the country for this year. All the while they're firing Matt McMahon and paying the women's basketball coach a boatload of money and giving the baseball coach a raise and hiring Will Wade and paying for his roster. They've never struggled for money. And I did back of the napkin math on this. This is nowhere near exactly correct to the sense. You're talking about $275, $280 million I just rattled off there. This is $900K. I just don't have a big problem with it. If you think, well, they're just being ridiculously petty asking this. I heard Flynn say that earlier. I've heard that word used, and I've seen it on the... people are tweeting at me. I'm reading Tiger droppings. I get text messages from... Ole Miss is so petty. They're so petty, y'all. They're being petty. Wait a second. How would you describe this? Would this be petty? If someone signs an agreement, then pulls out of the agreement, owes you money, you ask for the money, and you put your phone on Do Not Disturb and just don't respond? Is that petty? I mean, come on. What are we talking about? Nobody hopes LSU goes to Oxford and wins by 60 points more than me. Nobody. But, like, this is not the deal where I'm going to take up my purple and gold sword and go to the Twitter streets and battle. Ole Miss saw this coming. They saw their coach leaving. They saw their roster potentially being poached. And they made a reasonably smart decision in tying some key players to the next year's team in via revenue sharing with an out that was going to cost money coming back the other way. And now they're asking for the money they're contractually owed. I don't have a problem with it. I just don't. I'm thrilled Lane Kiffin's the coach at LSU. I'm thrilled they took him from Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss's football program is headed on a downward trajectory with Pete Golding at the helm. How quickly? I don't know. But in this specific instance, y'all, I can't drape myself in purple and gold and just point and laugh at Ole Miss. What I would do is I would say, hey, this is a $100 million operation you got going over here. These guys left. Everyone was aware of the circumstances when they signed those contracts and when they jumped in the transfer portal. If they didn't, then there's massive, massive, massive negligence going on in Baton Rouge. You owe this money. And the last thing I'll say here is that I'm not wired by like an attorney. I am wired to see things from both sides. Attorneys are wired to do whatever it takes to get on my side of the ledger and win, and whatever it takes to make the other side look as awful as possible. And I'm just not really wired like that. And I understand that. And if LSU believes that making Ole Miss go public with all this, making Ole Miss look like they're begging for cash, make Ole Miss lawyer up, make Ole Miss go to the courts, make Ole Miss drag this thing out where Prince William Ellen's a year into his time and then there's a settlement under the table at the end. Like, that's how legal stuff gets done. I realize how that happens. I think it's a little ridiculous, but that's just my opinion, and I've never been to a law school class, and no one will hire me as a lawyer as long as I live. I'm just not wired like that. I understand there are a lot of people that are. In my instance, if there's a contract, there's an agreement in place, and things happen, you abide by the contract. Same goes for coaching buyouts. Same goes for hiring coaches. It just seems simple to me that LSU's players should be paying up, and if that's not feasible and LSU needs to step in and make it happen, make it happen. What if Wednesday's next?
The Hunt Palmer Show.
It's hot out there, y'all. Heat index is well over indices. Indexes is proper in some terms. Doesn't really matter for the purpose of this. It's really hot out there. And our friends at Auctioner want to help you out. Like, heat stroke is a big, big deal in our part of the world. If your body temp is over 103, if you've got confusion, dizziness, fainting, hot, red, dry, damp skin, rapid pulse, nausea, vomiting, if you're experiencing any of those after being outside for any period of time, you could be experiencing heat stroke. Go to the nearest emergency room or call 911 immediately. If you've just got early symptoms, dry, sticky mouth, feeling lightheaded, fast heart rate, maybe mental changes, which is a major red flag, then get to the nearest Auctioner Urgent Care. You can find that at auctioner.org/UC. They want to remind you to avoid peak hours if possible, stay hydrated, drink water, drink low-sugar electrolyte drinks, and stay safe out there. And most importantly, if you feel off, just shut it down. You can find your nearest Auctioner Urgent Care at auctioner.org/UC.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because in Louisiana, toughness isn't just on the court, it's in your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because championships are built on commitment, not just on the floor of the court, but your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
I've been in banking for over 35 years. I usually start about 7:30 in the morning, and I usually leave somewhere around 5, or if customers need me to meet them at their house or their business places, I don't mind going after hours. I have done churches, subdivisions, retail centers, hospitals, and nursing homes. And that's why we chose to live in this community, because of the values First American Bank has, that I can serve my community and my customers.
Raising Cane's is honoring Chuck Norris on National Chicken Finger Day. For every box combo sold on July 27th, Cane's is donating $1 to Chuck's Foundation, Kickstart Kids.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we know each case and client are unique, and that no two cases are the same. But one thing remains constant, and that is our passion to help our clients. After an accident, we know your life has changed, which is why we passionately fight to make you and your family whole. Remember, whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. We're here to serve you.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
The experts at Hood Dental Care want you smiling bigger and healthier than ever. New patients can get a healthy gums cleaning for just $89, plus a free exam and full mouth x-rays. A $376 value. With over 3,000 five-star Google reviews, 5 local locations, and easy online scheduling with same-day care. Hood Dental makes it simple to get started. And we always have other great giveaways for new patients. Check out hooddentalcare.com and schedule your appointment today.
Supreme Jasmine is premium American-grown rice. From local farms to your table, every grain is supreme.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
GoTro's Outdoor Power brings the Hunt Palmer Show each and every day. GoTro's Outdoor Power. They're online at GoTrosOnline.com. 2 locations, Airline Highway in Baton Rouge and in Gonzales. They got incredible deals in July. And look, y'all, July is just about over. You better hustle in there if you want to get these awesome deals. 20% off MSRP for Hustler commercial mowers. And 0% financing for 48 months is available. So if you're looking for 20% off that MSRP for Hustler commercial mowers, get on by GoTro's Outdoor Power. They're National Hustler Dealer of the Year, 2 of the last 3 years, largest Hustler Dealer inventory in the state. That grass is growing. It's going to be growing for a while, so after Halloween, very likely. So if you need to get by and get that new zero-turn mower, incredible deals are available at GoTro's Outdoor Power. They're online at GoTrosOnline.com. All right, let's kind of recap where we are here. Talked about Bryan Bresee at the top of the show. He'll be out for the rest of the season, very likely, with a torn ACL. That's according to Ian Rappaport, who reported that after the Saints' first practice of training camp. We'll have Kat Terrell on in 55 minutes at 2:30, and she'll tell us about the latest from Saints camp there. She was out there. We'll talk Bresee as well as the other storylines from today. There was some good stuff. Jordan Tyson was out there working out. Tyler Shuck out there working out. Alvin Kamara out there. We heard from him earlier today. Cam Jordan met with the media as well. So lots going on the positive side from Saints camp, but obviously Bresee is the story of the day. And we'll get into potentially some Logan Schmidt talk later on in hour number 2 as well. For right now, it's What If Wednesday.
Time, space, reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question, what if?
Okay, so what if you could guarantee the health of one non-Saints quarterback this year?
One non-quarterback.
Oh, that's not a Saint.
Yeah, no, one.
Oh, that's a Saint?
Yeah, that's a Saint. That's not a quarterback. So obviously Shuck is the guy. Shuck is the guy, but beyond him, non-quarterback Saint. I would go with Eric McCoy.
Really?
I think so.
Okay.
I could hear a Kool-Aid McKinstry, but I don't. I'm looking at the depth chart as opposed to the best player on the team.
Okay.
Because, I don't want Chase Young to go down, but
Lord, yeah.
Granderson and Cam Jordan can play. I've seen that offensive line play without its center. It sucks. I don't want to see it again. So I think for me, I think I would have to go with Eric McCoy for a non-quarterback Saint to stay healthy this year. That was written before Bryan Bresee went down, and that's not a great one, but I think Aaron McCoy is my answer.
I like the Aaron McCoy. I can see why, because that Eagles game is still in my head, just seeing the guards run into each other and Jalen Carter just bully everybody.
He got some cash today.
Boy, did he? Hey, Trevor Penning, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, Trevor Penning.
Getting guys paid.
Man, get out of here, Trevor. So what if you can guarantee the health of one non-QB Tiger this year, LSU Tiger?
That's going to be... I was going to say Jordan Seaton, and I still feel pretty good about that.
That's a good pick.
But a very close second is going to be DJ Pickett. Because if Pickett were to go down, you would have Woodland and Jakeem Jackson on the corners with Haven Finney or Michael Turner in the slot, unless you were going to bring Deshaun Spears or TaMarcus Cooley down. You're so thin at corner. I think DJ Pickett is my answer. Jordan Seaton going down is a big problem. You got, at that point, maybe Devin Harper at left tackle. Weston Davis would not move over. Maybe you would put Sean Tompkins out there, who played left tackle for Baylor last year. You're taking a big step down.
It's a lot going on.
And that's a big spot on the offensive line, but you're so thin at corner, too. It's one of those two for sure for me. I'll go with Pickett, even though it's close.
Yeah, it would have to be Pickett. Pickett, just because the guys behind him, yeah. So what if Kevin Gosman joins Bregman with the Cubs at the trade deadline?
It's possible. The Cubs are absolutely going to get a starting pitcher. Gosman could be on the market. They're not in it this year, and he's in the last year of his contract, so he'd be a rental. He's still got a really good splitter. He doesn't throw as hard as he used to, but he pitched in the World Series last year, obviously. So that would be a reasonable ad for the Cubs. There are some guys higher up on my list, but if the Cubs had Gosman and Bregman, that would be pretty cool.
All right, so what if you had to guess the media availability for LSU fall camp?
If I had to guess, I would say, because I do know this, that Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss let the media in for very little. Stretching, little individual, you're out.
Okay.
But when he came to Baton Rouge, not unlike Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly was pretty strict at Notre Dame, came to LSU and was just opened the doors. I don't know if it's the $100 million contract or I'm not sure what mellowed Brian Kelly, but the same effect happened with Lane Kiffin because he let us see a lot of spring ball, and then he said at the podium, he was like, well, I'll have to talk to y'all. Like, do y'all want more access? Or like, and he was, I don't know if he wants to do that, but I think he's trying to be a little bit different, a little bit more cooperative with the media. Here's my guess. Okay. We get way more than Ole Miss did, which was just individuals like 15, 20 minutes, take attendance and leave. I think we'll get to see some full practices early on. I don't think we'll get to see near the amount of 11 on 11 and full scrimmages like we saw for Brian Kelly. Like Brian Kelly let us watch 3 scrimmages.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Year, which just blows my mind. That is not happening, I don't think. But I think we'll get to see some 7-on-7 stuff. I think we'll get to see some like inside run stuff, and maybe a couple full practices early. I think Les used to shut it down after about 2.5 weeks, or this happened twice when I was covering the team. Somebody got hurt, and then we got an email saying you can't come, and so the injury could be hid for a second because we weren't out there.
Yeah.
So or Les would just say like it's time to start doing prep for the game. So I think it'll be more than he did at Ole Miss, less than BK, and geared early. My guess is we're kicked out around August 18th or 20th.
That's a good sweet spot. So this is from the text line. What if Kerry Wood unretired and returned to the Cubs and pitched behind his back like he did in the All-Star game? Would it help?
It was not the All-Star game. It was the Savannah Bananas when he went out there and
Savannah
did
Bananas.
a full wind-up and flipped behind his back in there for a strike. I don't think Kerry Wood is in a position to help the Cubs. The Cubs need a lot of help, and I love Kerry Wood. One of my earliest memories is 20 strikeout game, but I don't think he's in a spot to help. Kerry, one of my all-time Cubs memories ever. 2003, Game 7 of the NLCS. Winner goes to the World Series. It was the day after the Bartman game.
Oh,
and
Lord.
so Pryor pitched the Bartman game. He was on the mound. He was unhittable, and the Marlins got to him. But Wood pitched Game 7, and he gave up a couple runs early. And then Kerry Wood, Cubs trailing Game 7 of the NLCS, hits a homer. And I mean, not just like any homer. He absolutely eviscerates a ball into the gap in left center and pimped it. He hit it and like tossed the bat, put his head down and started rocking. And I don't know if Wrigley's ever been louder. There were drinks flying everywhere. Like I wasn't there. I was watching on TV. I was a sophomore in high school, but I've still watched the YouTube highlights 100 times. It is one of the coolest moments of my Cubs watching life, watching a pitcher hit a Game 7 home run to tie the game and Wrigley go into an absolute frenzy. And then we lost. So you got that.
Okay. Well, that's it for What If Wednesday.
That's it for What If Wednesday. Some Kerry Wood stuff. That's what you were all looking for here as we get into Saints football season. We're always brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on Wednesday. They're built online at builtbyrenaissance.com, builtbyrenaissance.com. My guy Joey Blanchard is awesome. So reach out to him. We'll get you his number here at the end of the hour. But if you're looking for a new pool, looking for a new outdoor kitchen, reach out to my guy Joey Blanchard at Renaissance Homes and Pools. They're online at builtbyrenaissance.com. That's builtbyrenaissance.com. All right, if you're a basketball fan in Baton Rouge, you'll know our next guest, and he's got a new place. We'll tell you about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services. BoudreauxElectrical.com is the website, but call Neil and Melissa. They've been at this for 40 years. They know what they're doing. Give them a call at 985-397-1562. That's 985-397-1562 or 225-300-9389. If you're looking for that Generac home standby generator, call the folks at Boudreaux's Electrical Services. They are live. They are local. So you looking for that Generac home standby generator, you can call the big box store. I promise you, they'll get you to the finish line. You'll get that generator installed. Will you ever hear from them again? What if you've got a mechanical problem? What if the storm blows through and your generator doesn't come on? Who do you call? I don't know. But if you go through the folks at Boudreaux's Electrical, you've got a local team monitoring your Generac home standby generator 24/7. They'll know before you do if there's a mechanical issue. Then they'll send a local team to come out and do the repair. That's the local difference at Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Don't get caught in the dark after a storm. Get that Generac home standby generator from the folks at Boudreaux's Electrical Services.
Ford is taking $13,000 off MSRP on the new 2026 Ford F-150 trucks.
Plus, the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because in Louisiana, toughness isn't just on the court, it's in your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because championships are built on commitment, not just on the floor or the court, but your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Every Raising Cane's chicken finger is marinated, battered by hand, and cooked to order to perfection. We don't have heat lamps, because when you make it right, you can taste it.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wrapping up hour number one here, Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Those of you in Baton Rouge, really in the state of Louisiana, certainly know the name Carlos Sample. Was a star on the hardwood for the Southern Jaguars. Twice was an all-SWAC performer, led the Jags to 2 NCAA tournament appearances and an NIT as well. Then turned Scotlandville into one of the premier high school basketball programs in the nation. 16 seasons there at Scotlandville, won 8 state championships, played in 14 straight state title games, which is almost hard to say out loud. And just last week, named the head coach at Baton Rouge Community College. Coach Carlos Sample, good enough to give us a little bit of time here on the Jim's Firearms Hotline on this Wednesday. Coach Sample, thanks for the time. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Thanks for having me on your show. Appreciate it.
It's our pleasure. Why BRCC?
Like I've been saying all a while, it's home. It felt right. I'm from here, been here, high school, college, coaching career, all in Baton Rouge. So I'm just elated and excited about this opportunity that was given to me from Brock, and I'm just going to try to take it and keep the program going in the upward spiral.
This may be an odd question because it's just all part of your life, but what do you take most pride in? Your accomplishments on the floor or your accomplishments after you were done playing as a coach?
I just take accomplishments in the young men that we've jailed, the boys that we jailed, into being young, productive men, going to school, taking up a profession, just looking at the lives that we've really touched and just been a part of, to see young men grow into men of valor and just being able to take care of themselves and their families. That's more important to me than any championship trophy.
I want to talk about your time at Scotlandville briefly before we get into your plans for Baton Rouge Community College. To go to 14 straight state title games at that level is truly unbelievable. And I know you had some great players that rolled through there, a couple that ended up at LSU. But what was the key for you in continuing that success at such a high level?
I think the key was mostly of just not being complacent. You know, you take every year, you throw away the year before, and you take the next year and you just start all over. And you just keep your expectations high, and you just thrive and continue to just get better and give 110 day in and day out. And then, you know, you look at your benefits later on, you know, like once you're done coaching and all of that, then you can look back and reflect on the accomplishments. But when you're in it, you have to be in it and just continue to get better.
Carlos Sample is our guest, the new head basketball coach at Baton Rouge Community College. Of course, you know him from his time as a player at Southern, as a coach at Scotlandville. Now, coming home to Baton Rouge Community College, I want to ask you about Javonte, because he's probably the player that most of my listenership remembers the most vividly. And I go back to his freshman season when Tremont Waters got hurt and Javonte took that game over against a great Tennessee team. What made him such a special competitor and such a special player that he was at Scotlandville and turned into at LSU?
I really think he was born to play basketball. Javonte, he is really the epitome of Scotlandville basketball. You come in, regardless of who you are, your stature, you come in, you give it 110 day in and day out every day. You carry yourself like a proud, respectable young man. You treat people the way you want to be treated. You know, you stay humble, and you continue to just be the best version of you can be day in and day out. And that sums him up in a nutshell, being a competitor and doing the things that he needs to do to be successful in life. You know, I wish he had a little more eligibility.
Yeah, look, at this point, everybody's got a lot of eligibility. Just sue everybody, and you can bring anybody wherever you want to. So maybe Javonte will come on back and play at BRCC for you. What are your plans for this program at Baton Rouge Community College? When I think about Louisiana Community College athletics, I think about some of the great successes on the baseball field, and certainly there have been some on the basketball court as well. What's your plan for Baton Rouge Community College?
I'm just trying to just continue to make it grow. I've seen, you know, Southern, LSU in the center of everything, and I'm just excited to just be a part of something that I think would be special if we just continue to just tap into Baton Rouge, surrounding areas, get the community and the city of Baton Rouge something they can be proud of to come see night in, night out at BRCC, and someone that they can identify as being a coach of BRCC, the face of BRCC basketball, and just take that and just try to grow it into something that can be very, very special.
Well, Coach, you're as much a winner as anybody on the basketball court in the Baton Rouge area that I can think of, and I wish you all the best there at Baton Rouge Community College. Welcome home, and we'll be watching this winter.
Oh man, I thank you so much, and please come out and give us some support, and just, you know, we just excited for the opportunity, and just ready to make you guys proud of what we're gonna do.
We'll get you back on when the season starts up. Thanks, Coach.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
That's Carlos Sample, head men's basketball coach at Baton Rouge Community College. Just truly an unbelievable run at Scotlandville for Coach Sample. Had Bridgewater show up at LSU. Obviously, Javonte Smart show up at LSU. But even it wasn't like a one-man show there. Sometimes a high school gets a guy that runs through there, and then that player's eligibility is gone. He moves on to the college ranks, and then, well, what are you going to do after that? Well, there was no one player that made Scotlandville what it was. They went to 14 straight state title games at the highest level in the state. Unbelievable sustained excellence. He was a great player at Southern, and now headed over to Baton Rouge Community College to see if he can impact. And I got a sense that there's going to be a little bit more juice to the basketball scene around here than there has been. I think LSU is kind of the ship that rises, the tide that rises all boats, I should say, around here. And sometimes we can get into a lull after football before baseball cranks up, and I think LSU men's basketball and certainly LSU women's basketball can certainly make that time a lot more interesting and get people more interested in basketball. And I'll tell you all this: I took Myers when he was like 2.5 to a BRCC men's basketball game. They were playing against Bossier Parish Community College. My old high school point guard was the head coach there. He's now become the head coach at Centenary in Shreveport. But I took Myers when he was like 2. It was too much of a overstimulation to go to an LSU game at that point. But BRCC was just a slower pace, smaller gym, more seats. He could roam a little bit. You got young kids that do like sports but don't want to sit in a spot for 2 hours. BRCC is a great option to go check out a little hoops. I've certainly done it, and we'll be back to see Coach Sample and his team. Great that Coach Sample's back home in Baton Rouge, and I think he'll do great things at BRCC. So thanks to Brock Cantro for hooking us up and making that happen here on this Wednesday. All right, that's it for hour number one. If you missed any of our show here in hour number one, you can go catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Unfortunately, the news of the day is on the negative side. Bryan Bresee out for the season, very likely. That's the report from Ian Rappaport, the fears of torn ACL. And as I said a couple of times in the first segment, it's just not something a veteran reporter like Ian Rappaport is going to tweet incorrectly. He may say, if it's not sure, like they fear the worst. He said torn ACL. Imaging is coming. So that's evidence that that's probably the case. We talked about it at the top of the show. You can catch that at Hunt on Saints. Then I talked about the LSU Ole Miss lawsuit. Ole Miss suing the two LSU players. LSU's role in that. I gave my 2 cents on it. You can go check that out on demand wherever you find your sound. Also, What If Wednesday. We'll come back after Sports Center. Talk some Saints. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Told you I'd give you Joey Blanchard's number here at the end of the hour, and I'm going to do it. If you're looking for the pool of your dreams, then contact my guy, Joey Blanchard. He is happy to do that. It doesn't matter if you're looking for a big, extravagant pool that you've always wanted, or you just want something simple that you can hang out in and maybe have a cocktail or catch some rays. He can do that as well. Happy to help you with whatever it is, and he's with you every step of the way. That's the beauty of working with a local company and working with someone local like Joey Blanchard. So shoot him a text. He's told me that many times. Like, yeah, you can go to builtbyrenaissance.com. He'll get back to you. You can call, but just shoot him a text. Say, hey, I heard your ad on Hunt Show. I'd love to talk to you about a pool. Shoot him a text at 225-252-7745. That's 225-252-7745. Say, hey, love to talk to you about a pool. He'll come by. It's Joey for the consultation, Joey for the design, Joey for the dig, the finish. He's there every step of the way. And so online at builtbyrenaissance.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new 2025 Jeep Wrangler with $18,000 off MSRP.
$18,000 off Jeep Wrangler plus the 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
People think it's all about game day. Let's go! But the real work happens in the off season.
Spring practices, early lifts,
Extra reps. And we need a healthcare team that works as hard as we do.
At FMOL Health, our lay of the lake, we take care of LSU football year-round.
So we can do what we do best.
We trust the lake.
From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
Raising Cane's is honoring Chuck Norris on National Chicken Finger Day. For every box combo sold on July 27th, Cane's is donating $1 to Chuck's Foundation, Kickstart Kids.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because in Louisiana, toughness isn't just on the court, it's in your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last because championships are built on commitment, not just on the floor or the court, but your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
My name is Mike Krumholt, and I've been with First American Bank for 4 years. What makes First American Bank special is we're able to offer all the products and services that any other big bank can offer. What sets us apart is being able to give that small town feel that someone can pick up the phone and they can talk to someone or stop by the branch and get excellent customer service.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. No, the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding.
but our #1 product's always customer satisfaction. Come visit us at reliefwindows.com. By the way, we do shutters too.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Ed Benkin. NFL training camps are underway, and the injury bug is already biting. Bengals defensive end Shamar Stewart was carted off the field during practice today. He suffered a left leg injury. Saints defensive lineman Bryan Bresee suffered a knee injury, and they are fearing it is a torn ACL. Panthers rookie wide receiver Chris Bresee II went down in a non-contact play, as first reported by The Athletic and confirmed to ESPN. Bresee suffered a moderate LCL tear in his left knee and is expected to be out for about 8 weeks. At Falcons camp, Tua Tagovailoa is dealing with what is being called a flare-up, and Michael Penix Jr. is still working his way back for a knee injury, which Coach Kevin Stefanski says is on schedule.
Every player, every injury you treat differently, and you treat based on the how the person's doing, the checkpoints, all those things. He's hitting every single checkpoint. So I'm very, very confident in the plan.
Meanwhile, Vegas coach Clint Kubiak says Kirk Cousins will get the reps with the top unit as training camp is underway. To baseball, the Marlins beat the Phillies 8-6 to complete a 3-game sweep of their series. The Diamondbacks topped the Pirates 3-0.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Thursday, Aaron Rodgers says this season is his last. I'll tell you what success looks like for the Steelers in 2026. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane's studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Hour 2, Wednesday edition of The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Out the work week officially in the rearview mirror, working towards the weekend. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Kat Terrell from ESPN.com with us talking Saints in 30 minutes. She was there at Saints camp today. We'll certainly talk about Bryan Bresee and his season-ending injury, but we'll discuss some other things as well that may be a little bit more uplifting than that, and that's our goal here in this segment as well. Alvin Kamara met with the assembled media today at Saints camp. I watched this press conference live on the Saints Twitter feed, and Alvin's just always in good spirits. He did the entire interview, as he's done many times over the years, with a towel like over his head, holding onto it with both arms, which to me would be like really uncomfortable to do for 15 minutes, but he did not seem fazed by it at all. That's completely irrelevant information, but I noticed it as I'm watching, and he continues to do that for every single question. But let's talk about what Alvin Kamara had to say today, and they started with the obvious question: did you feel slighted by the Saints as you went through this negotiation that ultimately resulted in taking a pay cut?
I've been through a lot in my life where it's hard for me to take shit personal, honestly. As long as you don't do nothing like to me physically or to my family or people I love, like it's really not too much that's gonna piss me off. Like I can't lie. I mean, I kind of just do what I do, and when it happens, it happens. Like I'm really better than I ever been, honestly, like from a mental standpoint, you know what I'm saying? And then coming in here, I just got like a lot of clarity. I just feel good, feel energized, like I'm here to work.
And that's a great way to look at it, because sports are a business at times, and business can get in the way of feelings often. And this could have really irked him, and he could have taken things personally, and he could have gone somewhere else, and he didn't. But the question is, did you consider going anywhere else?
I try not to like predict too much or try to anticipate anything other than what's expected. So I was just like, okay, I'm going to be in New Orleans. And once something else other than that happens, then we adjust.
So that's interesting, because all we've always heard is like, well, you're looking at, I'll be sipping pina coladas on the beach. I'm not playing anywhere from New Orleans. But he did open the door there for it. And I think he just didn't want to do that. That's, I think, what I take from it is he just didn't want to do that. He didn't close the door, but his preference is always to stay in New Orleans, and that's why he took a pay cut. And so, like, why do you have such a loyalty to New Orleans?
My whole career is kind of like I got a different type of loyalty. It's just how I was raised, how I'm wired. So to stay in New Orleans just meant a lot, and we're here, so another year.
You want to talk about how to endear yourself to a fan base, huh? Like, loyalty is important. And it is to some, but not to all. Most are loyal to money. That's where it boils down to. Whoever's going to pay me the most, that's where I'm going to go. And that's not just a football thing. That's just an employment thing. But the guys that are willing to take a little bit less, to do a little bit more for a city and a team, they're going to have their arms thrown around them. There's no question that Alvin Kamara is going to go down as one of the most beloved Saints in the history of the franchise. Like, that is not hyperbole in any way, shape, or form. And quotes like that just make it ring a little bit more true. But what's also true is that he's probably not the starter anymore.
Trav is a great player. I think a lot of my career has been, me and someone else, me and Mark, or me and Latavius. So like I have no issue with that at all. Whatever the role is, whatever the snaps are, like, I'm good with it. Like I say every year, and y'all probably tired of hearing it, like, whatever I need to do, that's what I'm here to do.
And I actually believe that. He said it a lot of times, and he has shared backfields, and like, I think this role is going to be lessened, but I think that's going to be good for him. I think that's going to make him more effective in shorter bursts. I think the days of Alvin Kamara plowing between the tackles 23 times on a Sunday are probably over. But he can get to the edge a couple times, catch a couple angle routes, be effective in the red zone, be a good third down back, and let Travis Etienne run for 1,100 yards. Like, that to me is a good formula for the Saints, and it sounds like he's pretty open to that. They asked him an interesting question. This has nothing to do with Etienne. It's just like, okay, you've done this a lot. Like, what's the best part of sharing a backfield?
Honestly, in those situations, like back when me and Mark were going, like, you feed off of each other. Like, somebody in the same room is different from like me feeding off of Mike T or like a Chris Olave or something. But like when you in the same room and you kind of doing the same thing, and I can look out and probably see Trav, and I know the play is called, and I'm like, oh, I know he's about to hit this. And then it's like, okay, now I'm about to go in, and I know I got a play called, and you kind of just, it's a different type of energy when you're feeding off a guy in the same backfield with you. And then it kind of like alleviates some of the strain, some of the pressure of, having to take on the full load.
I believe that, man. You're talking about a guy that was going through a contract negotiation, playing with busted ribs, running behind a bad offensive line, and never complained. And that, as much as it is, it's great to get the shine and try to get in the end zone and run the stats up. Like, it's also not necessarily the most ideal thing for anybody physically. And I think he understands that at this point in his career, that sharing that workload is a very, very good thing. Now, even with that potentially lessened role, like, is there extra motivation this year because of kind of what went on in the offseason?
I'm motivated every year. You know what I'm saying? A chip? No. Pissed? Maybe. But definitely motivated. No chip on my shoulder. I mean, I've been doing this 10 years. Feel good about it. Again, like I told Nick, going to every year and work the same way. And I'm looking to be better than I was last year.
That's the one bite that's different than the rest. And I struggle with how to compartmentalize that, where he says pissed, maybe. Like, they upset him to an extent. And I get that. Nobody wants a couple $1 million taken out of your wallet. Like, that's not great. But at the same time, I think it's possible. It's not common. I think it's possible to say, I'm really pissed that they took that money away, but it's a business. I like to play for the Saints. I'm okay with sharing a backfield with Etienne. I'd like to be a part of some good things here. Like, there are positives here. There's a negative over here. Not everything's honky-dory. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, but there's enough positive here that I feel okay about it, and we'll make that happen. And then you go into the season with whatever that motivation kind of looks like. And I think another element to this, and we'll hear Cam Jordan talk about it later on, maybe tomorrow, because he talked about it today. And this is something I can't like report. I can't draw on exact quotes, but I can like sense, just reasonably speaking, I think the way Shuck played late in the season last year ignites a little bit of hope in everybody. I've given you the quote 1,000,000 times about how Jeremy Hill told me that everybody thinks they're always going to win the Super Bowl. But like, reasonably speaking, you got a quarterback that might be a difference maker. And I'm careful with how I phrase that. Might be. I'm telling you he definitely is. Might be a difference maker. I think it just makes everybody approach things a little bit differently. Changes the vibe a little bit. And Alvin talked about what he's seen from Shuck in this offseason.
His voice, I think he's gotten comfortable standing up in front of everybody, talking, demanding what he wants. And I think that comes from kind of him and Kellen being on the same page, and Kellen giving him a little bit more reign to say, look, this is your team, go ahead and take over. So I think them two have a lot of synergy, and then it's just giving Tyler the space and the push to kind of, take over the team and lead, even though year two, I always tell people the years don't matter. It's like, it's who respects who. The team respects Tyler, so he's one of those leaders.
That's a big deal. A couple points there. One, the last part, the team respects Tyler. We don't care about year two. And reasonably, he's an old guy. There are a lot of guys in that locker room that are younger than him. A lot. So, yeah, the fact that he's got the team's respect, that's a big, big deal. No doubt. And also, I just don't think that first part where it's his team, he's being a leader, he's standing up in front of the room, I just don't think that first part could have been true this time last year. I guess Spencer Rattler could have gotten up there and led the team, but really? Are you sure? They just drafted a quarterback in the second round. You've never been the full-time starter on this team. You took over for injury. You have started games for this team, but it hasn't been, quote-unquote, your team. So just in saying that, this is different than last year, because last year that element could not have existed within the Saints organization. And now it does. You're hearing it from a guy who watched Drew Brees do it for a long time and then saw a period where it didn't happen and now sees it again. And I think that's, who else would you rather hear that from than Alvin Kamara? He's the bridge beyond Cam Jordan to the Brees era. That's a guy I want to listen to, for sure. And I think that's a really good sign for the Saints moving forward. So Alvin Kamara, a little pissed, but optimistic, in good spirits, here to do a job, understands his role. I think a lot of that very, very positive for New Orleans on day one of training camp. We'll rehash some of this with Kat Terrell from ESPN.com coming up in 15 minutes. Yesterday, LSU added a defensive staffer. Probably didn't draw many headlines, but it might be a big deal. We'll talk about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Ball and his team, 30 years, redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Look, it doesn't have to be a big, huge renovation, a big, huge remodel. They can do that at One Bath and Closets, but it doesn't have to be that. It can be a tub-to-shower conversion. If you've got one of those big 90s-style tubs, you've got an old dingy tub that you don't use, or you don't ever take a bath, but you stand in a bathtub every day to take a shower, why not take that tub out that's taking up all that space and put in a glass walk-in shower and change the aesthetic of your bathroom, change the functionality of your bathroom, add some value to your home, make the bathroom a more enjoyable spot. You can do that with One Bath and Closets. David Duvall and his team will have that conversation with you. It doesn't cost anything to have a consultation. And then they'll do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. Go see the pictures of their great work at onebathandclosets.com. Read the reviews from their satisfied customers and get that free consultation today. It's One Bath and Closets. They're online at onebathandclosets.com.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
Eagle 98.1, the rock station. Home of the Woody Show in the morning. Scotty Mack with Rock at Work. Michelle Southern with Southern Rock. Home of LSU sports since 1998. And rock for Baton Rouge since 1985. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. To join our VIP fan club, text ROCK to 225-499-9898. Eagle 98.1, the rock station.
Biden Ford is taking $13,000 off MSRP on the new 2026 Ford F-150 trucks.
Plus, the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The experts at Hood Dental Care want you smiling bigger and healthier than ever. New patients can get a healthy gums cleaning for just $89, plus a free exam and full mouth x-rays. A $376 value. With over 3,000 5-star Google reviews, 5 local locations, and easy online scheduling with same-day care. Hood Dental makes it simple to get started. And we always have other great giveaways for new patients. Check out hooddentalcare.com and schedule your appointment today.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including right here in Baton Rouge, quality care is close to home. Call the Spine Center of Louisiana or visit spinecenterla.com.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service and partner with only the best providers.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Back here on this Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Let me remind you about my friends at Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com, Highway 61 in St. Francisville. The Fabry family has been at this for 35 years, y'all. 35 years in the Baton Rouge area. Why? Because they take care of their customers. They know how to treat people in the buying experience. So many folks have had bad experiences on the lot, right? Pushy salesperson, feel like you're getting taken advantage of, not sure that you're interested, but feeling like you're being pressured. That's never going to happen at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. That's why the Fabry family's been at this for 35 years. You know, 5 locations, 3 brands, and they're thrilled to have the Chevy GMC point on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. So if you're looking for a Chevy Silverado, looking for a Chevy Suburban or a Tahoe, they've got them. If you're looking for a GMC Sierra, Yukon, Denali, they've got them. And you can see them, the entire inventory, online at FabryChevrolet.com. You can sort by new, sort by pre-owned, sort by mileage, price, make, model. It's all there, and you can see what they have on the lot that fits your needs. And then once you kind of see what they got, you can get up Highway 61 and see them and have that customer experience that the Fabrys have been offering for 35 years here in Baton Rouge. It's Fabry Chevrolet GMC, online at FabryChevrolet.com. Yesterday, Matt reported over at LouisianaSports.net that LSU has made a staff addition on the defensive side of the football in Kevin Scherer. Full disclosure, I had never heard of Kevin Scherer before 3:15 yesterday. Never heard of him. I should have probably. He's been around the SEC, but I had never heard of him. He went to Alabama and left his playing career at Alabama and went to Tuscaloosa County High School, and was an assistant coach there for a couple of years, and then was a grad assistant at Bama from 98 to 2000, back to the high school ranks where he became an assistant at Hoover High School. He took over at Hoover kind of during their heyday of the Jeremy Pruitt era, there in 2007 to 2009, and at that point made the jump up from Hoover High School to Alabama under Nick Saban as the director of player development. He wanted to get on the field, so after 2012, he became the defensive coordinator and defensive backs coach at South Alabama for the Jags, and then moved over to Georgia, where he was the outside linebackers coach from 2014 to 2017. At that point, he got his opportunity as a defensive coordinator in the Southeastern Conference in 2018 at Tennessee. Then in 2019, was special teams coordinator and inside linebackers coach, moved up to the New York Giants, where he spent the COVID year in 2020 coaching linebackers. Coached linebackers with the Giants again in 2021. He was a co-DC at Georgia Tech in 2023, moved to Georgia State in 2024, and last year was with the Birmingham Stallions in the UFL as a defensive coordinator. So has he been this dominant stalwart in coaching? No. Has he been around a lot? Yeah. Been around Saban, been around the high school ranks, coached 2 years in the NFL, been a defensive coordinator at Tennessee, defensive coordinator at Georgia Tech, worked as a special teams coordinator at Tennessee for a year. So you're bringing in a guy who is 53 years old, has worked for some big names in the Southeastern Conference, and he's coming in a role that has not been defined, but I would imagine is somewhere in the analyst level, right? And so you bring him in as just another set of eyes. And for 2026, like, that's probably not a huge storyline. I think that's reasonable to suggest. I don't think Kevin Scher coming in on July 28th is going to have this huge impact on LSU. But in the staff meetings, on the practice field, with Blake Baker, with Chris Kiffin, picking their brains, understanding what's going on there. And we all believe that Blake Baker is not long for this job. Now, I believe that he will coach at LSU in 2027. That's not rooted in anything other than what Blake said. He said he's taken the next step for him is a forever type step. It's not to Tulane, it's not to Memphis. Those two came calling. They wanted him. Those are great G5 job opportunities. Big cities, reasonable NIL funds, reasonable proven track records, coaches that have gotten jobs. Willie Fritz got a Big 12 job. John Summerall got an SEC job. If you look at Memphis, you've seen guys jump from Memphis to big jobs. Satterfield got the Arkansas job. Mike Norvell got the Florida State job. Like, those are really good stepping stone jobs. And Blake Baker made it evidenced publicly he's not interested. Blake Baker wants the Kirby Smart route. That's not my words. It's his words. He wants that route. He wants to go from coordinator to the big job. Like Will Muschamp went from Texas defensive coordinator, head coach of Florida. Now, that didn't work, but still, that's what he's looking to do. So, to me, that's going to take one hell of a season defensively for LSU and really in terms of achieving for LSU. For a team, for a program to go with a coach with no head coaching experience at the highest level. It doesn't happen all the time. So, I think that he potentially may be here a little bit because you look at the SEC hot seats. Yeah, I'd look at Shane Beamer and say that he probably needs to win some games. You can look at Jeff Lebby and say, yeah, he probably needs to win some games. But is that where Blake Baker wants to go? Are they looking at Blake Baker at Mississippi State and South Carolina? Maybe, maybe not. But we don't think he's going to be here 3 more seasons, right? At least I don't. So the opportunity to bring someone in with defensive coordinator experience, lots of SEC experience. Let me add up the years in the SEC. Bama 10, 11, 12. Georgia 14, 15, 16, 17. Tennessee 18, Tennessee 19. That's 9 years in the SEC. Just deepens your bench. It deepens up the number of guys that are in there. And if you want to create some continuity, maybe that's your next guy. I'm not here to tell you this is a slam dunk, that he's your defensive coordinator in waiting. I would bet against that, actually. I would bet that he's not LSU's next defensive coordinator. But I wouldn't rule it out. You always got to be aware that the next guy needs to be on your radar. If you have a really good college football program, if you have a really good college baseball program, really good college basketball program, your assistants are going to get plucked. Nick Saban dealt with it almost every year. Almost every year. Jay Johnson deals with it almost every year. You get your staff rated. And Blake Baker and Charlie Weiss are going to get hired. They're going to get their next opportunity. Now, for Kiffin on the offensive side of the ball, he can probably handle that internally and then do some interviews and get somebody that's on his page to run his stuff. But he'll be in the ivory tower as all that's going on. On the defensive side of the ball, that's the one you have to get right. This is something I talked about when LSU fired Brian Kelly. Because with Les Miles and Ed Ogeron and Brian Kelly, you were dependent on 2 coordinators at all time. Yeah, Les liked to run the ball, but Les didn't have an offensive scheme. Like, he was going through coordinators that were bringing theirs in. And he certainly wasn't running the defense. So you had to have both coordinators right. With Ogeron, he didn't have an offensive scheme. He liked what Steve Ensminger did, but they said he couldn't hire them, so he went and got Matt Canada. And then got Ensminger to come in, but then they needed Brady to come in. And look, he needed Dave Aranda to run the defense. And then he didn't have Dave Aranda, and then all of a sudden it ended up with Bo Pelini, and it's a disaster. and you can't plug all the holes enough. And Brian Kelly has an offensive philosophy, but he needed Denbrock to run it. And then Denbrock left, and he had inserted Sloan. It didn't work. By the same token, he hired Matt House. It was a disaster. He got Baker and then fixed it. But you're constantly dependent on two coordinators if you're Brian Kelly or Ed Ogeron or Les Miles. Lane Kiffin's not really dependent on his offensive coordinator. He can coach his offensive coordinator up. He's got the headset on game day. He can make that thing go. He'd prefer to have Charlie Weiss where he can take his hands off the wheel at times, but he can make that thing go. On defense, you need to make sure you've got somebody that's got it going. And he's got that with Blake Baker. He wanted to keep him there. And you always have to be aware that every year could be the last one with Blake Baker. So, again, I'm not telling you that Kevin Scher is going to be the next guy for LSU. Not telling you that. But I'm telling you that he's got experience in the league. He's coached linebackers a lot. And you're bringing him in to learn Blake Baker's system and to be a part of the wheels. Perhaps Kevin Scher was just looking for a job and called Lane Kiffin and said, hey, can I come in? I don't need a lot of money. And he said, sure, come on in. I don't know that. It's possible. But it's also possible that Lane Kiffin is looking at a guy with that kind of experience going, hey, come on in and learn this, and we'll give you an opportunity potentially at some point. We'll see. It's just a thought. But not headline news yesterday, but just one to file away for another day. Kevin Scher going to join LSU staff. We're not sure in what capacity, but he'll be on the defensive side of the football. Hat tip to Matt for getting that up on LouisianaSports.net yesterday. All right, let's talk some Saints. Kat Terrell was at training camp today. She was there for listening to a lot of Saints talk, including Kellen Moore, Cam Jordan, Tyler Shuck. We'll talk to her about all that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge, swingeasygcbr.com, swingeasygcbr.com. Just have some fun at Swing Easy. That's what I like to do. When we had our competition a couple of months ago for their summer league, I got there before everybody at Swing Easy. And I had my clubs with me in the car, so I walked in. I just fired up Cypress Point. And I played the back nine at Cypress Point, which is gorgeous and has these two awesome par threes out over the ocean. And I was going to finish that 9 holes until they showed up. I was going to finish that 9 holes in 25 minutes. If you'd like to play golf a little bit more quickly, play Pebble Beach or where they give that green jacket out every April, challenge yourself on those courses via the simulator, go by and do it. It's quick. It's fun. It's air-conditioned. They got cold beers, seltzers in there, glass of wine. You can turn on the TV, comfortable seating, Wi-Fi, the whole deal. Bring some friends. Go by yourself. It's a great way to enjoy some golf without it being 105 or dealing with public tee times that are tough to get. And it just kind of minimizes all that. It just boils it down to golf. I love it. It's on Segan at Perkins. It's Swing Easy Golf Club. Check them out online at swingeasygcbr.com.
Are you ready for an internet experience that actually keeps up with you? Then you're ready to step into a new kind of reliability with Rev Fiber. When your internet works, the possibilities open up, and suddenly everything feels more connected, just the way it should be. Seamless enough to keep up with every swipe and every click, anywhere you are. So leave the buffering behind. 100% fiber, 0% runaround, where support is still personal. Rev Fiber. Visit revfiber.com.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because in Louisiana, toughness isn't just on the court, it's in your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because championships are built on commitment, not just on the floor or the court, but your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. PerishMilk.com.
Eagle 98.1, the rock station. Home of the Woody Show in the morning. Scotty Mack with Rock at Work. Michelle Southern with Southern Rock. Home of LSU sports since 1998. And rock for Baton Rouge since 1985. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. To join our VIP fan club, text ROCK to 225-499-9898. Eagle 98.1, the rock station.
At Southern Classic Chicken, we take pride in serving the freshest, seasoned, and marinated hand-breaded fried chicken. It's so good, it's wrong. Choose from a variety of classic sides like our zesty Cajun seasoned fries, savory red beans and rice, or sweet corn grits. Drive through today and pick up a family box or one of our classic combos and enjoy a true Southern classic. Order online and download our loyalty app to start earning those crispy and
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Chugging along here on a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. First day of Saints training camp. Supposed to be a day where you kind of ease in. Not a lot of heavy work, no pads, a couple press conferences, move on with your day. Unfortunately, not the case for the Saints in Metairie today. Kat Terrell covers the Saints for ESPN, was there in Metairie, joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. How are you, Kat?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm a little bummed out about the day one injury, but that seems to be something that's going on around the NFL. Certainly happened in Carolina and it happened today in Metairie. Reports coming out that Bryan Bresee suffered an injury. I know that nothing's been confirmed there, but what can you tell us, and what would be the impact there if he is unable to go this year?
Yes, the sources confirmed to ESPN that he's undergoing tests for that. I don't have context as to exactly what happened because nobody saw it. Day one is a little crazy where you're just trying to write down where everyone is and what units they're playing with and things like that. So I never saw him walk off the field. I didn't see any commotion. And, Kellen Moore was he's always in a good mood, but he seemed completely normal afterwards. So I don't know how much he knew. ACL injuries are interesting. The first time I ever saw one covering a game, I didn't realize that players can just walk off the field. And then you'll find out later they had a serious injury. So maybe that was one of those things that happened with him. But it's very unfortunate. He was going to go into his third full season as a starter, fourth year as a Saint, key part of the defensive line. I really hurt for him. It's always tough to see a player go out day one.
No question. So then you look to kind of what's behind them. Certainly Devon Godshaw is right there, and then you look to the edges, and the Saints have invested 2 early draft picks the last 2 years in defensive linemen as well. Kind of who's next up for him if Bresee is out for an extended period of time or the whole season?
Yeah, ironically, Mickey Loomis was talking yesterday just about how they're really going to have to rely on some young guys this season, and they need some of these younger guys from the last 2 draft classes to take a step forward. And he wasn't talking about the defensive line at the time, but that's exactly what's about to happen. They're going to have to potentially rely on Christian Miller, who's a rookie this year, or Burton Broaden, who was drafted last year. It's so cliche, but it's got to be one of those next man up situations. Because Bresee was going to get a lot of snaps this year. He was, and now I guess maybe in a way it's a blessing in disguise that it happened day one of camp versus day 30. It gives him more time to recover from next year, and it gives them time to figure this out, because Kellen Moore was saying yesterday, the first few days are more about installation versus where they're going to put individual players. And so now they've got time to figure out what young guy is going to step up.
On the guys that are on the field, Alvin Kamara is a guy y'all talked to today. He seemed to be in pretty good spirits, and then he said that he was maybe a little bit pissed. What did you take from the Alvin Kamara press gathering?
I thought that Kamara was in good spirits. I think he knew he was going to be asked a lot of questions about this contract situation. And it's never easy as a player to have to be in a situation where you take a pay cut. It's always a tough pill to swallow. And he mentioned he's talked to a lot of other players about this contract situation throughout. He talked to Cam Jordan, who went through the same thing. I think he said he talked to Mark Ingram. Obviously, he's talked to Teron Armstead. So he leaned on a lot of players, but at the end of the day, he decided New Orleans is where he wants to be in perhaps a kind of different role than he's had the last few years. I think if they can find the fountain of youth with Kamara, then they can have a fantastic situation between him and Travis Etienne. As Kamara has pointed out many times, some of his best production came when he had another running back to kind of bounce things off of, like Mark Ingram, like Latavius Murray, and that he was younger then. Now he's 31, but I am interested to see how these two players can work together.
Catherine Terrell's with ESPN, joining us here on the Jim's Firearms Hotline, talking some black and gold. Tyler Shock is another one y'all were able to hear from today. Candidly, I haven't seen or heard any of that, so I'm just going to kind of ask an open-ended, like, what was it? What were his spirits like, and how different is today as opposed to 365 days ago when he was just a rookie that was fighting for a spot?
Well, first of all, I love the honesty.
Yeah, had none of it.
They actually have not put up the streams of those press conferences today. Sometimes I rely on the streams because sometimes I'm like 5 people back in a scrum and my audio is terrible. So I was like, where's the streams go? So just to kind of recap what he said, I thought he sounded like a leader. 1 year ago, he's just the guy who was fighting for potentially the starting job, but we knew that was going to be a tough sledding at the time with Rattler already being in the system for a while. Now, he's sitting here talking about how he worked out with Drew Brees. He talked about how, he paid for his teammates to go out to California. But I also think that he kind of kept turning it back to the team. He's doing all the right things, but, as he pointed out, he started 9 games last year. That's a small sample size. It doesn't translate to success this year, but he had a good piece of advice from Brees about those workouts they did in California. Brees basically told him it all starts right here, getting to know your teammates, establishing chemistry, the things that happen this season. If it goes well, maybe it's traced back to that time spent together before training camp started. So I thought that was all really interesting, and just the little we saw today, I thought he had a good day.
Yeah, and that's the deal. Like, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about on the field stuff, but I think we all realize that nobody's got pads on, and it's the first day of just getting out there and getting a little bit of a sweat, which doesn't take all that long, but that's kind of what the point is. So Jordan Tyson was out there, we understand. What did you see from him today as he was really eased in over the summer?
I thought he looked good. He participated in 7-on-7s and 11-on-11s, and that's a big step for him. The Saints have kind of had bubble wrap around him this whole offseason. It was a weird situation where he showed up in minicamp, practiced totally normally, and then the next day he wasn't practicing. And obviously when you have a player that comes in with injury concerns, that just sets off so many alarm bells. The fan base, the reporters watching. So the fact that they opened training camp and he was just participating as normal was such a good sign. And so we'll see kind of how they handle him going forward. But it does seem like the bubble wrap is off, and he's going to be allowed to do things just like the rest of the receivers.
That's great to hear. As far as the backfield goes, Devin Neal and Kendre Miller are both coming off of injuries. We were told yesterday they'd be kind of a full go today. What did you see from them?
Yeah, I thought this was a great day for Kendre Miller. He tore his ACL back in October, and Miller has had a rough go of it during his entire tenure with the Saints. He's had injuries. I think he had a hamstring injury day 1 in training camp back in 2024, a couple of years ago. Sorry, they blurred together.
Sure.
And so the fact that he's out there day 1, didn't start on PUP, was with the twos, was able to seemingly do everything, didn't look like the injury was holding him back. I think that is such a relief for him, I'm sure, because he's going to have to fight every rep to make the team now. I mean, he just is with the history. And so I think it's a good start, but he's just got to stay healthy. And then you mentioned Devin Neal. Yeah, Devin Neal also, I think, was with the twos. Travis Etienne and Alvin Kamara split time with the ones. So we'll see if they mix and match that at all. But right now they're second team, and so I think they're just going to be fighting for reps.
And the last one, Chris Olave was out there, we know, but did not participate in team drills. It was apparently a contract situation. You've talked to Mickey Loomis a lot over the years and gone through these type of situations this type of year. What's your read on this one?
I will say I feel like this is the least contentious major contract situation I've seen in a long time. It has all the makings to it could have been contentious, especially when you're dealing with a contract situation where obviously one side is going to use your injury history against you. That's never great. But, from day one of this offseason, Olave has been with the team. He's been participating. He was out there in California. He's said all the right things. He's never had a negative thing to say. And publicly, the Saints also have not had a single negative thing to say about him. So this just seems like something that's going to be resolved. I don't know how fast it'll be resolved, but it's going to get resolved. And honestly, the fact that we just saw Bryan Bresee go down for the season on day one kind of makes you understand more why Olave might be a little hesitant to do 7-on-7 or 11-on-11 while this contract situation is ongoing. And the Saints probably understand that too.
No question about it. That was literally going to be my next point after we hung up with you. So that is right on the money. Kat, we appreciate some time. I know it's a super busy day, and we'll catch up later in camp. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
That's Kat Terrell, ESPN Saints reporter. Let me remind you about my friends at Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com, HighlandIG.com. Jonathan Carbo and his team are awesome to work with, especially on the benefits side of things. If you're an owner of a business or you're a CFO, you're in charge of handling the books and dealing with the benefits, and you're just feeling squeezed because those premiums continue to climb. If you've had a bad renewal or you fear one might be coming, contact Jonathan Carbo and the Highland Insurance Group. Let them know how you're feeling. Let them know what your situation is, and let them potentially bring a second option to you. They're here to listen, and they can generally bring you another option. It doesn't mean they're going to slash 12% off the top. They'd love to if they can, but that doesn't mean that's what they're going to do. It's a really hard market, but they're willing to take a look at another option because they're an independent broker with contracts with different carriers. So if you've had a bad renewal on the benefits side with your health care, your vision, your dental, all that goes into insuring your employees, contact the Highland Insurance Group. They're online at HighlandIG.com. Contact Jonathan Carbo and the Highland Insurance Group at HighlandIG.com. Yeah, like Kat's last point there is right on the money, because if you're Chris Olave and you've got your big payday, like it's here. Like you have played your 4 seasons, you are in a position now to score the monster contract you have worked your entire life for. Like he's been well paid as if you just take football out of the equation, he's been a well-paid professional for the beginning of his career. This is the spot to just become generationally wealthy. And when you sit there on the first day of camp with no pads on and Bryan Bresee blows a knee, like I'm looking at that going, guys, I want to practice. And look, Hunt Palmer's talking about this, like I don't know where they are in the negotiations. I'm confident they're relatively close. The market is set. The Saints probably feel like the market is high, and I understand where the Saints are coming from there. But the fact of the matter is that he is putting tens of millions of dollars at risk when he steps out there. And he's willing to do some. He's here. He's not holding out. He's willing to be out there. But, like, Carolina just had a receiver today go out for 8 weeks. Today. It's like, all right, how close are we here, guys? I'm here. I'm willing to be in the meeting rooms. I want to be a Saint. But I can't. My teammate just blew a knee out. And this is my opportunity to get the biggest contract I will ever get. And I get that, y'all. I really do. I talk about this all the time. There is a point where we as fans tune out the business side of it. But you always are cognizant that it exists. And I understand Chris Olave. It bums you out if you're a Cowboys fan in the 90s and Emmitt Smith misses like a month of real games because he hasn't gotten paid. Like, that's a bummer. In July, I'm cutting Chris Olave all the leash he wants, especially since he's here. Especially since he watched one of his teammates, who, by the way, came into the league about the same time. I just can't. I can't go out there and do everything right now when this could literally be the most important week, 10 days, 14 days of his earning life. I'm going to cut him some slack on that, and hopefully the Saints can get it to the finish line. That's the way I feel about it, at least. We'll come back and close out the show next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, lifetimeroofingla.com, lifetimeroofingla.com. Look, they're a Baton Rouge-based roofing company that services the entire state of Louisiana, plus Houston over there in Texas as well. They've got their core values, which are customer service, quality, and integrity. They take pride in setting themselves apart from other companies because they're involved in the community that they're serving. Multiple roof giveaways every year, BCA awareness, military giveaways, and certainly give those roofs away to those in need as well. They understand that at times the roofing business is a service industry. They're coming to help, and they understand that they're serving a community. So go with a local company if you need a roof inspection. Go with a local company if you need a roof repair. Go with a local company if you need a roof replacement. Go with Lifetime Roofing. They have 0% finance available for 18 months. You can finance deductibles, and as of January 1st, they can offer a lifetime workmanship warranty. And that includes the materials that are backed by CertainTeed, one of the oldest and most trusted names in building materials. It's Lifetime Roofing. Find them online at lifetimeroofingla.com.
Raising Cane's is honoring Chuck Norris on National Chicken Finger Day. For every box combo sold on July 27th, Cane's is donating $1 to Chuck's foundation, Kickstart Kids.
People think it's all about game day. But the real work happens in the off season.
Spring practices, early lifts,
Extra reps. And we need a healthcare team that works as hard as we do.
At FMOL Health, our lay of the lake, we take care of LSU football year-round.
So we can do what we do best.
We trust the lake.
From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
Bayou Ford is taking $13,000 off MSRP on the new 2026 Ford F-150 trucks.
Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including right here in Baton Rouge, quality care is close to home. Call the Spine Center of Louisiana or visit spinela.com and tell them Matt sent you.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because in Louisiana, toughness isn't just on the court, it's in your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because championships are built on commitment, not just on the floor or the court, but your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your...
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Failure happens to us all.
I always tell you that Renaissance Homes and Pools is a great way to get that pool of your dreams, right? But maybe you've already got a pool, but it's 10, 15 years old. Well, plaster usually has to be redone every 10 or 15 years. So what Renaissance Homes and Pools can do is remove and reinstall new plaster. If it's fading or it's peeling, they can come out, remove the old, reinstall the new, and you don't even have to remove the waterline tile. It could be a good time to do that since you're updating your pool, but new waterline tile and plaster can make your pool look brand new. It's a remodel that could expand to the decking, to your pool equipment. Maybe you add automation to control pumps, heaters, lights, valves. You can just freshen up the entire look of your pool if it's 10 to 15 years old. Renaissance Homes and Pools does that. Reach out to Joey. I give you his cell phone number every single week. It's the owner of the company's cell phone number. You get it. And you reach out and say, hey, I need to do a remodel of my pool. 225-252-7745. Again, that's 225-252-7745. That's Joey Blanchard at Renaissance Homes and Pools. You can find him online at builtbyrenaissance.com. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, so Tennessee star linebacker Arion Carter has been suspended for the first 2 games by the NCAA because he returned to college football after his agent paid for a $427 flight to an NFL pre-draft training facility. So is the NCAA back on their old ways? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
It just doesn't appear to me there's a lot of common sense that's applied in a lot of these cases. It seems like a really harsh penalty for $400 when you're talking about guys that are making $3-4 million at quarterback and 6 figures and low 7 figures at other spots. If Tennessee was playing 2 patsies, then you wouldn't care, but they're playing Georgia Tech, so we'll see. That's a bummer for them for sure. I would imagine that's probably not the most reasonable punishment.
For $427. When these guys, $400 is chump change to them nowadays. So I can't believe this. Couldn't even believe it was a real headline. I had to go actually look into this.
Yep.
So Tommy White is a starting third baseman for the Athletics, and he went 4 for 4 yesterday at the plate with 2 runs, but also Gage jumped, tossed 6 shutout innings for 7 Ks as the A's beat the Red Sox 4-3. So is LSU putting out the most pro-ready young players? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it.
I
mean, Tommy, 2024, jump 2024. I mean, Cade Anderson's ready to go, and it's interesting. Let me talk about this on a show later this week. The Mariners are shopping Emerson Hancock, who's one of the guys in their rotation. I think what they're thinking is if we can trade one of our rotation pieces and get a bat, we'll just plug Cade in, and he'll be the next guy. I don't know that. We'll have to see if that actually happens. But Cade looks ready. Ianson looks about ready to come in and help out of the bullpen. And obviously we know what Skeens was, and Dylan's swinging the bat great as well.
Along.
So it's good times for LSU in the big leagues right now. There's no question. And Tommy going 4 for 4. That's a heck of an effort. He's a really good hitter.
Do we know any update on Trey Morgan? Is he close, or is he like nipping at the bud?
So he was hurt.
Okay,
he was hurt for a lot of the season. He just came back. His first game back, he hit 2 home runs, and he set a minor league record. Not a record. Set a minor league personal best in home runs this year, even with the injury. So the power's starting to come a little bit for him. Tampa, I don't know where they would put him right now, but that's an organization that loves versatility and moves guys around a lot. So we'll see. He's in AAA and he's swinging the bat well. I think he'll get a chance at some point. It needs to happen quickly because he's getting older, but it needs to happen.
All right, so Crumble Cookie has revealed a Flamin' Hot Cheetos-inspired cookie. It's a lime sugar cookie topped with tangy cream cheese frosting and a crunchy, spicy cheese crisp. So is Crumble Cookie making anything at this point? Take it or leave it.
I'll probably take that.
I'll take it.
But I'm not taking the spicy cookie. I'm not eating a spicy cookie. I want my crawfish spicy. I want my gumbo to kick. And that's really about where I stop on the, I need spicy food. I don't need my wings to be spicy. I don't need, fried chicken to be spicy.
Yeah, I can't do that either. No.
I'm a mild person by nature. I want my crawfish kicking. I want my gumbo kicking. But my cookies, I'm out.
I just cannot believe that out of all the things that we could have possibly put together. I know yesterday we talked about a Pepsi body scrub, but this is where I got to draw the line. We're talking making hot Cheeto cookies.
Cheetos are on everything these days. Ballparks are putting them on everything. They're
and they're putting little cheese in the Cheeto. They're putting macaroni and cheese in the Cheeto puff.
If I was a Shreveport restaurant, I would just, for trolling purposes, boil crawfish and then dust them with hot Cheetos just so the South Louisiana people would go nuts. Because they would.
They would go nuts.
They go nuts at Shreveport anyway. Might as well just troll them. That's what I would do.
Listen, I have respect for the 318. Shout out to the 318 greats out there, especially if you're listening right now. Shout out to 318. So that's it for Take It or Leave It.
All right, that's it for Take It or Leave It. We're brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Again, online at builtbyrenaissance.com. Fast-moving show. Bummer of a start to the show. It's just one of those shows where I had the whole thing mapped out, and then you get the news 5 minutes before the show starts that Bryan Bresee is out for the year. So we discussed that at the top of the show. We also talked about that with Cat Terrell. We also heard sound from Alvin Kamara. All that and more you can find at Hunt on Saints as the week progresses. If you're in full football mode now, Saints are practicing, and you're looking for Saints coverage, I got you covered at Hunt on Saints, but also Ross Jackson, the most detailed practice reports you will ever read at LouisianaSports.net, and his is up for free on the homepage right now. So if you're driving, don't want to pull the phone out right now and start reading, I would highly advise against that. But when you get home, if you want to read some Saints content, you can check that out at LouisianaSports.net. We also talk some LSU. Tigers bring on a new defensive staffer, as well as my thoughts on Devin Harper and Prince Williman Miel. And I think you understand where I stand on that if you've been listening over the course of the last few weeks. But I gave my full thoughts on it. I've written a column about it at LouisianaSports.net as well. If you want to listen to the whole show, you can do that as well on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. Tomorrow, we'll talk to Luke Johnson from Saints Camp, maybe the latest on Logan Schmidt. I've heard that decision is potentially coming pretty quickly from out in California, so we'll do some of that. Matt's going to drive you home next on After Further Review. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Let me tell you about Marucci. So much to tell you about Marucci. What a gem in Baton Rouge. 22 years, that's all it took to go from a backyard shed to former big leaguers and their trainer, to go from a backyard shed to the official bat of Major League Baseball. You want to learn that story? It's fascinating. I'll tell you, it is fascinating. You can go by and take a tour. And in that tour, you'll see where they make 1,200 bats every day. It's not just a Baton Rouge company that is outsourced internationally. No, they do the work here. And they ship bats to the best players in the world here. And you can see where they make all 1,200 of them every single day. You can see where they're molded, where they're stained, and where they're shipped off. And you can also become a member in Marucci. And what does that come with? Well, it comes with access to the hitter's house 24/7. So you've got a youth baseball player, youth softball player under your roof that wants to take swings indoors all year round. Become a member at the hitter's house. Get that key card access whenever you want it. It's all there at Marucci. What a gem here in Baton Rouge. Check them out online at maruccisports.com.